Hi everyone, and welcome to another session. Today we'll be starting with this word. Now let's see what the word is. The word is calamitous. Now you must be aware of the word calamity. Calamity means a disaster, right? Relating to the same word is this word calamitous. It means causing great damage or something that is disastrous. Or you can also say catastrophic, right? So anything that is disastrous is called as calamitous, right? Something that can cause great damage. For example, world's calamitous water crisis is being ignored in climate talks. Now, there have been so many conversations among, the senior authorities or the world's leaders about the climate, but the world's disastrous water crisis, the water crisis, the shortage of water that is causing great damage to people is being ignored. So world's calamitous water crisis. That means a disastrous shortage of water, as you can see here, in places like Namibia or other places where there is an extreme shortage of water. People are not getting water to drink. This sort of a crisis is a calamitous one, right? A disastrous one or a catastrophic one. The nuclear reactor overheated to potentially calamitous levels. Now, you must be aware of nuclear reactor, and if in case you are a fan of Avengers or you know about Iron Man, then you must be knowing that he has a mini nuclear reactor in the middle of his chest, right? So such nuclear reactor, but on a large scale, it overheated to potentially calamitous levels. Like the level up to which it overheated were disastrous. The level up to which the nuclear reactor overheated can cause a catastrophe, right? So you can say a disaster, a calamity, or a catastrophe are all synonymous. Similarly, calamitous, disastrous, and catastrophic, they are synonymous as well. The team suffered a calamitous defeat yesterday, right? That means the team, any team which was playing, they suffered a disastrous defeat. That means that defeat costed them maybe, the chance to be in the finals. So it was a calamitous defeat. So the calamitous word comes from the word calamity. Calamity means a disaster, and calamitous means disastrous, right? Okay. Let's see what our next word is. Callous. Looking at this little kid here, poking his tongue out, right? So he's teasing. He's like, kids do this often. They're like, we don't care, right? And then they stick their tongue out. Even you might have done that as a kid, right? So this means the kid has no feelings for the other person. He is just like, I don't care, right? And then he's sticking his tongue out. So callous, the word callous means unkind. You can relate this word and try to remember it by the word careless, right? So careless kind of sounds like callous, right? It's like careless has a hidden callous in it, right? So you can remember it like this. Callous means people who are careless about others, or people who are unkind, cruel, or without sympathy or feeling for others, right? People who are insensitive, are not sensitive towards the other person, or are unkind, are cruel, or do not feel sympathy for others. Such people are called as callous, right? So callous again is used as an adjective, all right? Let's look at this example. Fearless kids may develop more callous traits, right? So kids who are fearless, they can develop callous traits. That means they can develop traits wherein they do not feel sympathy for others. Traits means characters, right? Traits is another word for character. factors. As callous as it may sound, trying to help some people is a waste of time. Now, I know helping is a great deed, it is a noble gesture, but sometimes helping people can waste your time as well. And as you already know, time is gold, right? As precious as gold. So using time to help someone else is sometimes a waste of your time. So this might sound callous. That means it might sound unkind that we are trying to help people, but it is a waste of time, but it is the truth. All right. Callous government paying no heed to plight of public. Callous government, unkind government, or a government that is not sympathetic towards the plight of their public. Plight means the sad situation, the bad situation in which a public is. The careless, or let's say the cruel, unkind government is not paying heed to them. Paying attention to them, right? So in this sentence, we are coming across callous, which means unkind or cruel. We are coming across the word heed. Heed means paying attention, right? You pay no heed, that means you're not paying attention to something, right? Pay no heed, pay no attention. Pay heed, you are paying attention, right? Then plight of public. Plight means a sad or a sorry situation, right? A bad condition in like someone is in, right? So that is plight. Okay. All right. Let's see our next word. And just remember that this kid is super insensitive to, about the world right now, and that's why he's callous. Okay. All right. Calumny. Calumny means misrepresentation intended to harm another's reputation, right? Calumny. Calumny means you are misrepresenting someone in order to actually harm their reputation. You can also use the word slander, right? Now, let's look at these examples and understand the word better. Calumny is answered best with silence. Calumny means you are sort of saying bad stuff about a person in order to degrade their reputation, right? So that is called as calumny. You are saying things about a person, or about maybe a company, or about a certain society or community, and that that conversation about that person is going to harm their reputation. So calumny is a negative word. Okay, you might have seen those aunties in your society, right? As you can see, these two also seem like those aunties, like going and snitching on someone, or trying to tell someone like, do you know this happened at their house? Do you know they did this? So such people are spreading what? They're spreading calumny, right? So calumny is answered best with silence. That means if you want to answer people who are spreading wrong things about you, then you are, you just ought to be silent in response to that. So that is calumny, where you are misrepresenting someone in order to harm their reputation. He was the target of calumny for his unpopular beliefs, right? So there is this person who has some unpopular beliefs, and he was the target of calumny. Target of calumny means he was said about a lot, right? There were talks about him in order to degrade his reputation. So this person was the target of calumny for his unpopular beliefs. Calumny requires no evidence or proof. Calumny means you don't really need a proof, or you don't really need evidence in order to spoil someone's name, right? You just, have to tell to one person, then that person would tell to another person. And in that manner, the calumny would keep spreading and the person's reputation would keep degrading, right? So that is what we say about calumny. Calumny requires no evidence or proof, right? Okay. All right. So yeah, that's calumny. That is misrepresentation intended to harm another's reputation. Don't forget these ladies spreading calumny, right? Okay. Let's see our next word. Canny. Canny means thinking quickly, especially in business matters, right? If you are someone who makes decisions quickly, is spontaneous with his reactions, and you can also say think quickly, then you are a canny person, right? You can also say prudent, okay? So canny is synonymous with prudent. You see this person with a big light bulb in his mind, right? That means this person thinks as quickly as a bulb is lighted up, right? So this person has a canny thought, right? Or this person is canny. These salesmen are a canny lot, right? Now, a group of salesmen are there, right? A group of salesmen is there, and this group is a canny lot. Canny lot means the combined of these, this group, this lot is canny, okay? Canny means they think quickly. These salesmen, they are very wise, they are super quick in their thoughts, right? And they can easily think, new ways to sell off the products. So these salesmen are a canny lot. The electorates are canny and want to know what they are voting for, right? So electorates, people who are going to vote are electorates, right? People who are going to go for elections and vote there, they are electorates. And if I'm saying electorates are canny, that means they think quickly or they think about the matters of who they want to vote for, right? So if you are someone who always tries to gain knowledge before doing a certain activity or making a certain decision, you have, a quick thinking response. So you can be called as can, all right? My experience of young people is that they're fairly canny in choosing their careers, right? So nowadays, young people like you guys are, really quick in choosing your careers. Nowadays, the careers are not confined to being a doctor or an engineer, right? People are trying so many new careers, right? So they are simply trying to choose careers for themselves in a quick manner, right? Quick manner as in not that they are choosing them in within seconds, but they are making wise decisions in terms of their careers. So that means young people are fairly canny, right? Okay. So canny is like thinking quickly, right? So let's say Canny is a boy and Canny saw a can and he thought, should I kick this can or not? So he has to think quickly, should I kick this can or not? So Canny kicks the can quickly. He thinks quickly that I should kick the can. So Canny kicks the can after quick thinking. So canny means thinking quickly. These are some absurd ways, that you can use to remember the meaning of words, all right? You can remember these meanings. Okay. Let's move on to our next word. Canonize. Now, canonize, what does that mean, right? Now, you must have heard of the word canon. Have you heard? A cannon, those huge weapons that were used in the past in order to launch those big balls of metal, right? To beat the other side of the army, or to, you know, bombard the army on the other side. So those were canons, right? So canonize means to declare a person, like someone who's dead, to be a saint. If someone is dead, and you know, now after their death, you're declaring them to be a saint, that they are worthy of so much praise. So you say that this person was canonized, right? So let's remember it like this. A canon killed the person, okay? And now that person is dead. So everyone just declared him to be a saint, right? A canon killed the person, and now that the person is dead, everyone thinks that person is a saint. Saint as in everyone is praising that person. Oh my God, that person was so nice, but he was killed because of a canon, right? So you can remember it like this. Canonize means praising someone after their death, all right? Or declaring someone to be a saint, but after their death, right? You can see maybe this is the bishop or a king, and there is this woman who is dead now, and he's sort of canonizing her, right? So he's saying that although she's dead, but we remember her in praise. She was a saint-like woman, right? Joan of Arc was eventually canonized in 1920. Although many denounced him, the press canonized him as a new hero. Now, canonized here is being used to say that this person was being praised as the new hero, or declared to be a saint-like person, right? So many denounced him. That means many people did not favor him, said bad things about him, but this person was canonized by the press, right? Canonized by the press, that means the press, the newspapers, the news channels, they all declared this person worthy of praise, all right? He was his history's most canonized basketball player. That means this person was the most praised basketball player in history. Like now that this person is dead, after his death, he has become the most canonized basketball player, right? So canonized, most praised basketball player. So you can remember, canonize, a cannon hit a person, killed him, and now that this person is dead, everyone is praising him like he was such a nice person, but he was killed by a cannon, right? So remember it like this, okay? All right. Let's look at our next word. Caprice, right? Okay. A sudden and usually silly wish to have something, or a silly change of behavior, is caprice, right? So, you know, a sudden and silly wish. For example, you can see this gold car, right? So this gold car was made to satisfy the caprice of one man. Now, you might have seen people, especially rich people, have sudden and usually silly wishes, right? They are like, we want a gold car, or maybe we want a gold tooth for no reason, right? So that's a silly wish to have, but I mean, they are wishes, so we kind of gave them a name. They are called as caprice, right? Or a silly change of behavior is also caprice. The gold car was made to satisfy the caprice, or the silly wish of one man. Her refusal to go to the party is a mere caprice, right? So this person is refusing to go to the party, but this is nothing but his silly change in behavior. Like he shouldn't be doing this, but this person is for no reason refusing to go to the party, and it seems silly to others. So we can say any behavior that seems silly can also be called as caprice. For example, sometimes you, maybe as a kid, you started demanding things from your parents, and they used to think like, what silly demand, right? Or what is this silly behavior? So your behavior was nothing but a mere caprice, right? Okay. His conduct was regulated by strict principle and not by mere caprice. Now, conduct and conduct are two words having same spellings but different meanings, right? Conduct is an act of doing something, right? Like maintaining yourself or behaving. Conduct is your behavior or the manner in which you're behaving. That is your conduct, right? For example, we say in school, you have to maintain a disciplined conduct, right? And then conduct is to conduct, organize something, right? For example, let's not conduct the competition tomorrow, right? So conduct is organizing something and conduct is behavior or manner. Yeah. All right. Let's see our next word. Catastrophe, right? Now, a catastrophe, as we discussed, also can be called as a disaster or a calamity, right? So you can see here how disastrous this picture is. Maybe because of an earthquake or floods, this whole place is wrecked, right? So catastrophe is a sudden event that causes very great trouble or causes a bad situation, right? So you can say a bad situation, a severely bad situation, or a sudden event that causes great trouble is a catastrophe, right? For example, this place, whatever happened here was a catastrophe, right? They were warned of the ecological catastrophe to come, right? So maybe a very serious, a grave calamity was about to occur, something like an earthquake or maybe floods, and they were warned about it, right? So ecological disasters can also be called as ecological catastrophe, right? The emigration of scientists is a catastrophe for the country, right? So now that scientists are leaving the country, this is catastrophe for the country. That means it is a very bad situation for the country. This should not be happening. It would result in serious trouble for the entire country, okay? Losing his job was a financial catastrophe for his family. Now, catastrophe could be in different aspects, right? Maybe an ecological catastrophe like earthquakes, floods, right? And then here we are talking about financial catastrophe. That means something bad happened in financial matters. Maybe someone lost their job, right? They're not able to earn anymore. So that is an example of financial catastrophe, right? So catastrophe, a bad situation, right? You can remember it like this. The cat, there is a cat, okay? And she has my trophy. And that's not good, right? The cat has my trophy. She's going to scratch it. She's going to remove the, the gleaming polish of my trophy. That's not a good thing. That's a very bad situation. So catastrophe means a bad situation. The cat has your trophy, not a good situation, a severely bad situation. So you can remember catastrophe is a bad situation, right? Okay. Cerebral. Cerebral is a word related to your brain, okay? So intellectual rather than emotional people, or relating to the brain or cerebrum, right? Now you can see, let's talk a little bit about the biology of your brain. Now you can see this is the front part of your brain, so it's called the frontal lobe. This is the most hind part of your brain, so it's called the occipital lobe. This is the parietal lobe, which is on both sides, okay, of your brain, like both sides. And this is the temporal lobe, which is on the temples. All right, now this small part beneath the occipital lobe and above your spinal cord, okay, is cerebellum, right? And cerebral means it is relating to your brain, right? Or a part of brain which is called as cerebral, right? Now, the patient died from acute cerebral hemorrhage. That means this patient died because there was excess blood flow from his cerebrum, right? So cerebral means relating to the cerebrum. Chess is cerebral. Video games are visceral. Chess is cerebral means chess requires you to be intellectual, right? It requires you to take actions that are more rational, right? Or let's not even say just rational. It wants you to be super attentive, take practical, responses to the game. Video games are more visceral, right? You need to take decisions sometimes based on emotions as well. She makes cerebral films that deal with important social issues. That means there is this girl, she's making cerebral films. That means she's making intellectual films rather than just making emotional films. Nowadays, you're seeing a lot of emotional films, but there are people who are also working on intellectual movies, right? Movies that talk about social issues and stuff, but not in a very emotional manner, more of in an intellectual manner. So being intellectual in manner is called as cerebral, right? So it can also be related to being related to the cerebrum and can also be related to being intellectual, right? Okay. Let's look at our next word. Cherish. Now this is a very, quite often used word. Cherish means to feel or show affection for someone, or to keep memories that bring you pleasure, right? Can you see this couple? They have their photographs on the wall, and they are just going through their memories. They are having fun. They are, smiling and remembering all the things they have done in the past and click photographs for them, right? So they are keeping these memories to bring pleasure to them, or they are showing affection for their memories, right? So cherish means to show affection for something, or to rejoice your memories, to remember your memories and feel happy about them. Freedom of speech is a cherished right in this country, right? Freedom of speech is a right that people are rejoicing, people are happily accepting. I cherish the memories of the time we spent together, right? So I cherish the memories means I have memories of the time we spent together, and I hold those memories in great affection. Those memories bring me pleasure till date, right? So I cherish the memories. That means I rejoice the memories. I think about those days and it brings me pleasure, right? Although I cherish my children, I do allow them their independence, right? That means I cherish my children, I show affection for my children, but I also give them their independence. So cherish my children means you are showing affection towards your children, okay? Or your parents are showing affection towards you. All right, so cherish means to feel or show affection for someone, or to keep memories that bring you pleasure. All right. Circumscribe. Now the next word is circumscribe. Can you see this circle? Might be reminding you of your math class, right? So circumscribe means to limit something or to draw a geometrical figure, right? Like to draw around. It's like around something, right? For example, you can see this circle, right? And this circle has been circumscribed by this polygonal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay, it's having 6 sides. So the circle is circumscribed by a hexagon, right? So circumscribe means the circle has been surrounded by another geometrical figure. Circle is one geometrical figure, and this hexagon is another geometrical figure, which is confining it, right? Which is drawn around it. So the circle has been circumscribed by the hexagon, right? Okay. Or you can also say to limit something. To limit something means to circumscribe something. The power of the monarchy was circumscribed by the new law, right? So power of the monarchy means the power that was there with the person who was ruling alone over a region, right? Monarchy, a single ruler, right? So power of that single ruler, maybe a single king, was circumscribed, means was limited by the new law, right? So circumscribe means limit something or someone. Please circumscribe the words which are wrongly spelled, right? Please circumscribe the words which are wrongly spelled means please try to limit, like control these words or remove these words which are wrongly spelled. In the middle of the drawing was a circle circumscribed by a square. That means there was a circle in the middle of a drawing and it was circumscribed by a square, right? Okay, so this circle, sort of a circle, is circumscribed by a square. That means it's surrounded by a square. So circumscribe, scribe means like you're writing or drawing something, right, around something else, right? Okay. All right, guys, time to revise, right? So let's revise. Circumscribe. Circumscribe means to limit something, right? Or to draw a geometrical figure around another geometrical figure, right? So that is circumscribe. Circumscribe means to control something, limit something. For example, maybe the power of a king, or you can circumscribe one shape around another. Yeah. All right. Cherish. Cherish means to keep the memories that bring you pleasure or to show affection for someone. You cherish memories, you rejoice memories, right? You keep them, and when you think of them, they bring you pleasure. Or you cherish someone. That means you are showing affection for someone. Cerebral, relating to the cerebrum of your brain, or cerebral also means more intellectual than emotional, right? So if you are someone who is intellectual or someone who is working into something that's more intellectual, then you're working on something cerebral, right? Catastrophe. Catastrophe means a disaster or a calamity. You can simply remember it like this. A cat has my trophy and now she's going to scratch it all over. That's a bad situation. So catastrophe is a bad situation, right? It could be an ecological bad situation. That means an ecological catastrophe, or it could also be a financial catastrophe. If you're having problems in your financial life, then financial catastrophe, like losing your job. Caprice. Caprice means a silly wish, right? Or a silly change in behavior, okay? For example, you wanting Taj Mahal is going to be a caprice, like a mere caprice, right? Because you can't really have Taj Mahal. Okay, canonize. Canonize means to declare usually a dead person to be a saint, right? Or praising them a lot. You can remember it like this. A canon killed a person and then that person was being praised so much. Like, oh my God, this person was such a good person and the good guy, and this guy was killed by a cannon. That's so sad, right? So you're praising someone. That means you're canonizing them. Canny. Canny means to think quickly, especially in business matters, like salesmen or canny, or young people nowadays are canny because they're quick in choosing their careers. Calumny. Calumny, you can remember that they are nothing but things that, you know, those aunties in your society pass on from one person to another, right? So these are the, you know, the conversations or misrepresentations which are intended to degrade or harm someone's reputation. You can also say slander, right? Okay. Callous. Callous means, you can remember it with the word careless. Callous means to be unkind, cruel, or someone who is not sympathetic about others, or someone who's not having feelings for others. Like this kid is like, I don't care. So he's callous, right? So callous means unkind or cruel or without having feelings for others. Calamitous. Calamitous, you can relate it to the word calamity, like a disaster. And calamitous means disastrous, right? Or something that is causing great damage. Or you can also say calamitous is catastrophic, right? For example, the water crisis that the world is facing is one calamitous crisis, right? It's a disastrous crisis. All right, guys, this is it for today. Thank you.